An MLS FIFA 21 career mode can be one of the most unique and fun that you do. Most people don't give the MLS a chance when they create their career mode because the rules aren't modelled in the game or they seem complicated. But really, you can make a realistic career mode just with 3 simple rules. Just restrict yourself to a squad of only 30 players. Instead of scouting each month, only view the scouting reports at the end of the season. And limit player signings to be under sort of 80 rated, but maybe have 1 star player over that. The 30 player squad should have 20 players on less than $5,000 per week, 2 players who are under 24 from any nation on any wage, and 8 players of any age from any nation. This is the easiest way to simulate having the budget restrictions that real MLS teams have, and I think it works pretty well. Because the draft isn't modelled in the game, the easiest way to do this is have 9-month scouting reports started 3 months into the season. If you only view these at the end of the season, you just pick 5 or so players from this, and that's pretty much how the draft works. If you just scout the USA, Canada and Mexico or somewhere else, you can get a good selection of players and you can make your picks from these. Personally, I use 78 as my highest rated player that isn't my star player. I sometimes have 1 or 2 players that have developed over this, but I try not to sign anyone over 78 rated. If you limit yourself to only having 1 player over 80 rated, like most MLS teams do, if they have one at all, you keep the randomness and difficulty of playing in the MLS while also keeping it fairly realistic, which is a good balance. In terms of teams to choose, you've got the better quality teams in the MLS, such as the Timbers, the Sounders and Miami. You've got the higher potential LA teams, who have good young players, LAFC and LA Galaxy. And if you're more interested in a road to glory, you've got Montreal and Vancouver, who you could probably focus on Canadians with. The MLS has 6 different real stadiums, so if that's important to you, you'll want to play as Vancouver Whitecaps, Seattle Sounders, LA Galaxy, Atlanta United, Portland Timbers, or Red Bull New York. To keep the signings realistic and a bit more fun, you can impose certain rules on your teams. So for example, if you're playing as one of the Canadian teams, maybe only sign French-speaking players. So that could be someone from Canada, someone from France, someone from sort of the French-speaking part of Africa even. So examples of these, Koscielny, Jovetic has played in France for a long time, so I'm sure he can probably speak French. Balassi is from the DR Congo, so that's another French-speaking country. If you're playing as an LA team, maybe signing Mexican players who have either high ability or high potential would be realistic. So Andres Guardado, Jose Macias, Roberto Alvarado provide a good mix of potential and ability while also being, again, realistic. Both Dos Santos brothers and Carlos Vela have played in LA recently, so signing more Mexican players to LA where they have such a high Spanish-speaking population is realistic. And a more general player rule would just be signing older European players who have maybe fallen out of favour with their parent clubs. So examples of this could be Ozil. He's been left out of the Arsenal squad this season, so maybe he wants to move to Minnesota. Willian, Matic, Alexis Sanchez, Juan Mata, Lallana, they could all fit in if you're playing as Columbus, for example. Of course, some of the other teams have signing policies of their own, so Atlanta likes signing South American players, and Los Angeles Galaxy like spending a lot of money on superstar signings such as Zlatan or David Beckham or Gerrard. And New York City have the link with Man City, so it might be worth loaning in some of their players they don't need anymore, or buying, for example, an aging Aguero after a couple of seasons. There's a lot of potential for realistic and fun players you might not have used in other career modes. Because there's a fairly unique difference in the quality of teams in the league, they range from mid-60s overall to mid-70s. There is potential for a road to glory where you're constantly competing against better teams to make it more difficult. I know I find road to glories in England to be fairly easy, simply because the other teams don't have any money to spend or any good players or high potential players that they can buy. The MLS doesn't suffer from this at all. You'll be playing against a team and then you'll realise, oh, that's Victor Wanyama that used to play for Spurs, or that's Bojan who used to play for Barcelona. Players you might not have thought about recently, but it's kind of a fun blast from the past when you see them. You can fill your team out with players like this, players who might have had high potential but flopped, or players who are getting older. I know last year players like Ben Arthur and Gorkuf were fun to add to the MLS. But because there's so many ways you can take the career mode, you could even justify signing someone like Gareth Bale to be a superstar winger. Or you could go the other way and only use a youth academy to try and make Canada or America the best team in the world. All of this combined makes me think that the MLS is probably the most fleshed out league in FIFA. It might not have the rules that it has, but no league in FIFA really is realistic. It has the right playoff structure, but it's missing the continental competition, which I think is the only downside of the MLS. So that's my guide on why you should start an MLS career. I hope this helped you if you do start a career. Please do let me know, I'd love to hear it. And let me know what kind of career mode you do choose. If you want to try and make America the best team in the whole of international football, or make America great again, I guess you could say, let me know. Or if you want to sign the Arsenal 2011 team, Fabregas and